Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. A bit later with this video this morning. Apologies, the WhatsApp group chats have been going absolutely mental this morning. A couple of the football group chats have been talking about some stuff that don't really want to talk about just yet, but let's see what the result is this afternoon. Anyway, let's get to the Celtic news this morning. Brendan Rodgers has been telling some of the Celtic players, look, this jumper will not shrink to fit you. If you don't like it, go. And he's been basically saying that to some of the players. Marco Tilio, we need to talk about him. Is he trying to talk? Is he another player that's trying to talk his way out of his Celtic contract? And Cameron Carter-Vickers, it's been suggested, might take part today. Will he start from the beginning? Who knows? Who knows if Cameron Carter-Vickers will start? He is back fit, but what's happening with Rio Hatate? What is happening with Rio Hatate? He's a big game player for us. Will he be back before the end of the season? His situation seems to be a little bit weird. The fact that he seems to have done both his calves in at the same time when he was away. And we're going to talk about a predicted 11 for the team today. And going on what some of the sites are saying. But let's talk about Brendan Rodgers first. Brendan Rodgers says, if players can't handle the pressure, especially at the biggest clubs, they aren't the clubs for you. Go away. There are plenty of clubs there where it's like a holiday. You play once a week and there's no drama. Said Brendan Rodgers allegedly. If you draw a couple of games and win 8, that's fantastic results. But when you're here at Celtic and when you're at the bigger clubs, that's part of the deal. You need to deal with it. You have to be able to learn to deal with playing at home and here away. Is that a dig to the players that don't seemingly I haven't said it this season. This squad doesn't like playing at Celtic Park. Doesn't like the pressure of the big crowd. The younger players in the squad seems to shrink into themselves and not cope with the last 20 minutes when the Celtic home fans are getting on their backs. Brendan Rodgers was able to say, he said, look, when you look at YouTube and you see 60,000 fans singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the Champions Night, and the small print says, yeah, there's big pressure. Deal with it. It's a journey for them. From to come through as a Celtic player, it's about time. It's difficult for any player to come to the manager and to the club where the expectations are huge. If you've never felt it or sensed anything like it before, is Brendan Rodgers making excuses for some of the younger players that came into the club? Is Brendan Rodgers telling subliminally to the recruitment team that these players aren't good enough? They're not the higher level that he requires to be able to do the job correctly. At a club like Celtic, it comes to you pretty quick, he said. When you get through that, there are other phases that getting used to and what is expected at a big club, said Brendan Rodgers. Is Brendan Rodgers inadvertently having a dig at the recruitment team in his interviews in the last couple of days? Is he basically saying, look, these players aren't what we need at this club. These players aren't the big game players. And that's why maybe there was the speculation yesterday that Celtic are going to spend big money in the next transfer window. A lot of people are saying, don't get Brendan Rodgers anywhere near any of the cash. What he's bought so far is absolute wash. And we all know that Brendan Rodgers isn't in total control of the purse strings at Celtic. Anyway, talking about one player that he did bring to Celtic in the last transfer window was Adam Idah. Adam Idah's loving it at Celtic. He says, it's been great. The training's been good and I'm getting games. So I'm loving life in Glasgow. You wouldn't enjoy football if you didn't enjoy the pressure. You have to be up for it and know how to deal with it. There's a lot to be said, but that's what you want to be doing. You want to be playing the game. Said there's a big difference between playing for Norwich and playing for Celtic, obviously. In my first game at Aberdeen, we drew, and I thought, okay, decent result. Definitely wasn't a decent result, Adam. Drawn to Aberdeen is not a decent result, and he found that out pretty quick. He says, I'm around the place and around the city, which is a really good place, but when it comes to the pressure, I never expected it to be so hard. Idah has started Celtic's last couple of matches, 3 matches, and he's been paired with Kyogo. Kyogo's sitting just behind him. Kyogo needs to get back in his goal scoring boots. A lot of people are saying, like, playing Kyogo not on the back line has hindered them. You've got to remember, Kyogo was getting pushed off the ball. People were shoulder charging him off the ball incidents that weren't getting picked up by referee or VAR or anything like that, or the linesman or anything. So maybe playing Adam Idah, I've said for a while, maybe it's what he needs, but he does need to get his scoring boots back on. He said about the one and only Kyogo, he says, we definitely can't speak to one another because of the language situation. He says, we see each other quite well. He says, it's going to be good in the running. We're going to know what to do and how to play. It says, I'm the big strong type who can hold the ball up, and he's a little lippy sharp, I can't even say that this morning, a little nippy sharp centre forward. There we go. Put your teeth in, Baz, even though I don't have falses. Oh, wait, the Huns will go shark teeth, whatever that means. Anyway, he's a joy to play alongside, is the little man. He says, but I know when the ball comes to me, I know where he's going to be. He's probably similar to someone like I've played before at Norwich, who's now at Aston Villa. In terms of stopping the runs, he says, once he's on the ball, he's always trying to create something. Talking about the little Kyogo. Could it be the dream partnership that we've been looking for, playing two up front? And I have said this before, but Chris Sutton type player with a little version of Henrik Larsson, although he'll never be a Henrik Larsson, but he's probably a bit smaller than Henrik Larsson, so he's a smaller Henrik Larsson. Anyway, we digress this morning. Marco Tilio, before we talk about the team. Is Marco Tilio a player that was maybe disruptive in the dressing room? Maybe thought he wasn't getting his own way. Maybe thought he was getting in the team when he wasn't. He's obviously went back to Australia and he scored that wonder goal that we showed on the video yesterday. And he went to Instagram. They all take to Instagram these days. And I noticed that our very own lovely Lewis Palmer has been taking to Instagram and getting a new tattoo or something. That guy's he's always on Instagram. Anyway, Marco has said, missed that feeling. Melbourne City with a little blue love heart. Is he a player that's now trying to talk his way out of the Celtic contract and make sure that he gets a move back to his beloved Melbourne City on a full-time basis? Maybe he can't handle it in Australia. And one of the comments, I'll read some of the comments, missed that feeling, he said. And 18 Joe 88 said, found his level. And someone else said, that's a goal. And then great run, Tillis. Beautiful goal. Tell me what you think. Is Marco trying to now manoeuvre his way out of Celtic? Right, let's get to the team today. We will be doing it live before the game today, and just before the team is officially released by Celtic. Nudge, wink. There's lots of speculation going on this morning. I've had a couple of group chats where we've been talking about the teams, and that's all we'll say about that at the moment. But the Celtic 11 this morning, I predicted 11 versus Motherwell away, Celtic away to Motherwell. So kick-off, it's going to be Hart and goals, obviously, and Big Joe Hart wants to see this season out fine and dandy. I do think it's been negligible by Celtic to not go out and get a keeper. Before we knew we were needing a keeper. And a lot of people said, look, get Benji Siegrist out the door, get a keeper in and let him play second fiddle to Joe Hart until the end of the season so that he knows what's expected when it comes to next season. Maybe bleed them in just gently. But it's not the Celtic way. It's not the Celtic way to be a forward-thinking 67 point whatever million in the bank club to think I'm just thinking of a text I got this morning, and it's blown my mind. It's actually blown my mind. Anyway, let's get back to the starting 11. Hart, Ralston, and Carter Vickers. Will he start Carter Vickers, or will Brendan Rodgers give him 60 minutes? Or will Brendan Rodgers bring him on for the later half of the game? It's a tough game, and it's a tough away game. It's always, you've got that pitch at Motherwell. Is it still got the slope on the pitch? It used to have a slope on the pitch at Motherwell. I'm sure it still does. It does have that weird slope, which is absolutely a weird pitch. You're sitting in the stands behind the goals, the pitch slopes that way, just one side. It's absolutely bizarre. Anyway, will Carter Vickers start the game today? Tell me what you think in the comments. Is it a wise choice to bring him straight back into the team after another injury? Was he brought back too quick? I think we should be bringing, personally, I think that we should be bringing Carter Vickers in for the tail end of the game, just to shore up the defence and give him that game time. Bring him in gently and slowly to make sure that he's here for the big, important games towards the end of the season, the run-in, because that's where it's going to matter. As long as we get over the line today, that's all that matters. Then there'll also be skills in defence. Also with Taylor, McGregor, Wata has been suggested could come into the team. There's a lot of the outlets are going with Wata. So has there been a little thing coming out of Celtic? Because there's quite a few of the Celtic publications have went with Wata in the team today. And then obviously Maida, O'Reilly and Kuhn, because Lewis Palmer, let's face it, he got dropped at the last game at half time because of his selfishness. And I think Brendan Rodgers will punish him slightly and put cunt on the pitch with Kyogo up front. Which does mean if that is the formation, there's no place for Adam Idah. There is no place for Adam Idah, and he's going to play Kyogo off the end of. I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's just wait and join the live just before the Celtic team comes out, gets announced. The Celtic team does officially get announced. It's usually around about an hour and a quarter. It used to be an hour before kickoff. Celtic have put it to an hour and a quarter. So we will go live just before or just around when the team does come out this afternoon or morning, because it'll still be morning. Anyway, let's talk about the team then. Tell me what you think about the team in the next video, and tell me what you think also about Joe Hart leaving. Tell me what you think about Marco Tilio and his little Instagram message. Missed that feeling. Melbourne City. Interesting.